Hey guys, this is the daily. No, not the daily. Well, I will be reading the Daily Stoic today. This is the Young Stoic. Back with another video. Today we're on February 7th. This is probably going to be getting to you on February 8th because I forgot to record this video until like 11:30 at night. So yeah. So we're gonna get right into it. Well, before I'll say a couple of words. So today we're gonna be talking about fear and paranoia, and this is something I don't really struggle with paranoia that much. Kind of, yeah. Fear. I would say I have a decent amount of fear in me, but yeah, there's things in this which I'll get into later, which I think is pretty interesting and relevant to today. So without what's the term? Without further ado, let's get into it. This quote is from Seneca. Many are harmed by fear itself, and many have come to their fate while dreading fate. Now this book's comment. Only the paranoid survive. Andy Grove, a former CEO of Intel, Sorry, let me repeat that. Only the paranoid survive. Andy Grove, a former CEO of Intel, famously said. It might be true, but we also know that the paranoid often destroy themselves quicker and more spectacularly than any enemy. Seneca, with his access and insight into the most powerful elite in Rome, would have seen this dynamic play out quite vividly. Nero, the student whose excesses Seneca tried to curb, killed not only his own mother and wife, but eventually turned on Seneca, his mentor, too. The combination of power, fear, and mania can be deadly. The leader, convinced that he might be betrayed, acts first and betrays others first. Afraid that he's not well liked, he works so hard to get others to like him that it has the opposite effect. Convinced of mismanagement, he micromanages and becomes a source of mismanagement. And on, things we fear or dread, we blindly inflict on ourselves. Next time you are afraid of some supposedly disastrous outcome, remember that if you don't control your impulses, if you lose your self-control, you may be the very source of the disaster you so fear. It has happened to smarter and more powerful and more successful people. It can happen to us too. So, with that, I'll start off by saying, I remember when I was a kid, I don't know why, but for some reason I'd have these while laying in bed, I'd think I wonder if my family's all fake. I wonder if one day they're just gonna leave me, and I don't know why. I don't think I've ever heard anybody else talk about it, but it went away after a while. It wasn't some deep-seated paranoia about the world, and I don't say I'm really paranoid. I live a lot on faith because I don't have the energy to be paranoid. But fear, I would say for some things I guess sometimes I'm afraid. I have fear of failure. That's often it, in my acrobatics club or something like that. Sometimes I'm fearful to try new moves. But other than that, sometimes it's, I would say I've gotten over it a lot because I used to do it, and I see a lot of people do it. They're just afraid of trying things, even though it's better to try than, or there's not really any harm in not trying. There's this quote that I was thinking of. It was they're more even if you're, oh wait, I'm allowed to think of it. I don't know. If it comes back to me, I'll mention it. But yeah, some people are just really afraid, and I'm not sure exactly where it comes from. Maybe they weren't exposed enough as children, but yeah, it's unfortunate because taking risks, obviously calculated risks, are sometimes some of the best and most fun things you can do in life. Yeah, so, okay, the main thing I wanted to talk about is related to this book called The 48 Laws of Power. So this book is a popular book. I see some people reading it and some people mentioning it. I don't really think it's a good book. Like, oh, 1 second, I have to let my roommate in.
We back.
Yeah. My roommate was just having a shower. Okay. So, the thing I don't like about the 48 Laws of Power is that it teaches a lot of lessons that, like,
It's a good topic.
are just, like, they don't build relationships. Like, it's basically doing exactly what it describes Nero is doing. Like, it basically makes you more, like, micromanaging. It makes you more paranoid. Like, everything about it, or not everything, but some of the rules in there, like one of the rules I remember is like take credit for others' achievements and stuff like that, and it's just so bad. Like, that's just not a healthy thing to do long term. Yeah. So, like, some of the, like, a lot of popular books and things, especially in now's day and age, they'll tell you to, like, basically manage people like you're above them. And that's not what you want. You want people around you that are self-sufficient and people that will help raise you up. Because in reality, you don't want to be surrounded by idiots, and because then you're not going to grow. The only growth is going to be from you, and oftentimes you'll benefit from, like, growth provided by others. And so you don't want to be surrounded by basically, like, bootlickers who will just listen to everything you say, because then if you make a mistake, then you're nobody's going to correct you. So that's basically one of the main things I don't like about the book. Obviously, there are some rules in the book that are productive to it. Yeah, but, like, one thing that one of my deans always says is that the perfect lies are mixed in with truth. And so even if most of the book is correct, when you know that some of it is just completely and utterly garbage, I don't really see, like, there's so many other sources of knowledge that are better than that book. But, enough with, and that's a different book, enough with the book review within book analysis. So, yeah, I would say to get over this paranoia and fear, I'm not sure about paranoia, because I don't really, like, I think most people aren't really paranoid that much. The only thing I would say about fear is that, like, okay, I'll start with baby steps, because you have to walk before you can run, and that's the best approach. So start with little things. So even if it's like I don't know, try doing things by yourself, even if because by yourself might be easier than doing things in public. So, like, let's say you're like a terrible drawer or something. Try drawing things. Like, yeah, sure, like, you're gonna fail, but, like, most people aren't good at drawing things. And so, like, doing it is probably, if you do it just, like, in your room, like, yeah, sure, it might look stupid, or your drawing might look not great, but you're gonna benefit from it, because you'll be able to see your flaws, and they'll be laid out in front of you, and that's a very healthy thing. And, like, you can do other things, like you can help people. Also, just helping people, being, like, complimenting people, it will start to erode your fear of other people. Because when you compliment people and you're nice to people, then they're nice back, and yeah, they will be nice back, and that will really make your self worth like so much higher if you're actually nice to people. And it's like it's small things, like the small things really add up, like complimenting someone's shirt or their hair or something that they do. Like it, like people notice it. Like imagine how good you feel when someone else compliments you on like your outfit or something that you're doing. It feels really nice. And so like you generally smile back at them, and you want to do something good for them. So that's, just do the same for others. So that's one way I'd say of getting rid of like fear like that. Fear of failure, it's pretty similar. Like you basically have to start with baby steps. Like what I said, so I kind of branched off into fear, like social fear, basically. But I think that there are other things you can do, just like go on like in general. Hold on, let me collect my thoughts. For fear of failure, like you basically just have to like commit. Eventually, just like you basically have to realize that people. Okay, here's something that I will say: people are always more focused on themselves than they are of you. Like always, there's no exception to this. People are always looking towards themselves. They might be critical of others, and there are certainly people who are very critical of others, but like they will still always look more at themselves than they will at others. And they'll pay more attention to things that they themselves do. You have to keep this knowledge with you. People, if you try, like, okay, I know many of you aren't acrobats, but if you're trying to learn your backflip, unless you're really bad about it, like nobody cares if you're really bad at a backflip. They only care if you're really good at a backflip. That's the thing you have to know. People oftentimes don't care when you fail, especially when you're trying a new thing. They'll only care if like you, well, this might not be the best advice. Hold on, let me just like rethink. You should, I'm not saying you like they will look at you if you fail when you do things, and in the moment, yeah, sure, they might be like, oh, that guy looks silly or dumb when he's trying this thing. But in the end, people forget so fast what you do, especially like it. Obviously, if you do something wrong enough times, people are going to notice and they're going to start associating. But because the fear of failure, once you stop failing, that thing's going to go away. So once you start getting better at something, people are going to stop noticing you. And that's when you're going to have way less fear. So you basically just have to realize that people aren't going to remember you for little mistakes. And so once you get good at those little mistakes, are good at making mistakes. I mean, you shouldn't be trying to make mistakes, but you should be comfortable with making mistakes. And so, yeah, you should just try to put yourself out there. Like, I know it's not the best advice, and I do completely acknowledge that. I don't have all the best advice out there, but this is just from my experience. I've gotten through my advice just by putting myself out there. Just like you have to, that's really where it will start. And you can, again, I highly suggest starting with the little things. You don't have to go out in massive public things. You can start off with just you personally. You can start off with your friend group or your family, or like people like in your friend group at school or something like that, and then continue to move up to doing nice things for people and try new things. Start small and then go up from there. That's really my main advice for today. So with that, I'm gonna end off this video because it's late and I want to go to bed. If you have any comments or things you want to comment on, then feel free to put it in the comments below. And with that, I hope to see you in the next video. And if I don't, then have a good life. Goodbye.